Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Betting Insights. I'm Timothy alongside Sergio again. Sergio, welcome.
Hey Tim, hey everybody, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Now, a lot of competitions are heading into the winter break, but we still got two competitions. As you know, we are giving out picks for five different club competitions across Europe: Serie A, La Liga, Premier League, Eredivisie, and the Bundesliga. Now, this week we only have Serie A and Premier League games, so we'll get to those in a second. Now, first, a quick recap last week. Last week was much better than the week before, but still room for improvement, and we are looking to improve every week. So that's what we're striving for, right?
Yeah, yes, of course.
All right. So let's look to up last week. Today we are starting with Serie A. Now, not much of a choice. Like I said, only two competitions. We'll be starting with Serie A. First game on the schedule, Empoli hosting Genoa. Empoli wins set at 2.7. Genoa wins set at 3.3. Line for total goal set at 2.5, but this man, the over 2.5 is set at 2.8 and the under 2.5 1.42. So they're not expecting a lot of goals, and neither am I. And also a draw is set at 2.8. Empoli wins set at 2.7. So chances are this will be a draw or a Empoli win, and that's what I'm going for here. Also, not expecting a lot of goals. And Empoli, they've lost six games already, which is a lot given this early into the season. But if you look at the games they've lost, Napoli, Lazio, Inter, and AC Milan and Atalanta are five of the six losses. So other than that, obviously Genoa was not on that level. So I'm not expecting a Genoa win here. Double chance Empoli, that should be the play here, right?
Yeah, double chance Empoli or maybe even over 2.5. I think that it's possible for them to at least score two times. Genoa, give them a goal, but I would go for of course the Empoli win, but the over 2.5 is also very much possible.
Yes, man, it's possible. I don't think it's likely. Empoli, they neither of the teams really score a goal a game, right? Empoli 16 goals, 17 games, Genoa 14 goals, 17 games. So they're not gonna light up the scoreboard here. If I'm making a play under total goals, it would be the under. Like I said, double chance Empoli, that's the play, but not touching the over 2.5 on two teams that just can't score. All right.
Okay,
All
we'll
right.
see.
Next up, Parma hosting Monza. Parma wins set at 2.55. Monza wins set at 3.05. Line for total goal set at 2.5. Now, this is a game where I'm looking at the over 2.5. Now, Monza, obviously a team that doesn't score that much, but Parma, they average over a goal a game. And they've allowed 33 goals in 17 games, so almost allowing two goals a game. And Monza also allowing over close to 1.5 goals a game. So this is a game where I can see the over 2.5. What are your thoughts?
This game, I don't even want to touch. Monza have won in six or maybe even seven. Parma lost their last three games. I think this game is gonna end up in a draw. So actually, I'm just gonna skip this one. Maybe a lean towards Parma, but that's it. I uh, I have more faith in Empoli than in Parma.
Yeah, listen, man, I'm not picking a winner here. If there was a play where you could just bet for both teams to lose, that would be the play here. But you can't do that. I kind of agree with you, a draw most likely, but I really can see the over 2.5 goals. Like I said, Parma, they allow a lot of goals. They can score. Monza doesn't score that much, but Parma does allow goals, so I can see the over 2.5 hitting here. But that's the only play I'm looking at. All right, next up, Cagliari hosting Inter. Cagliari wins 8.5. Inter wins 1.42. Line for total goals 2.5. Now, 1.42 is not great value overall, but for Inter, going up a team that's number 18, that's somewhat sneaky good value. I don't understand why it's
Uh,
1.42. This line should be close to 1.2 or something, right?
uh, yeah, maybe they think players come from their Christmas Christmas Day break or something, and they maybe ate a lot of turkey or something, and that's why it's 1.42. But yeah, other than that, um, I think it should be just an easy win for Inter.
Yeah, and Inter obviously three straight wins, three straight clean sheets. Cagliari four straight losses. Three of those games they did not even score. So going up against one of the best defenses, I'm not sure they score a goal here. So Inter winning, obviously the only play I'm looking at here. All right. Next up, Lazio hosting Atalanta. Lazio wins set at 3.2. Atalanta wins set at 2.43. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Now, this is my favorite over 2.5 of the weekend. Two of the highest scoring teams in the Serie A. Atalanta, 42 goals scored. Lazio, 32 goals scored. And neither of these teams really have a stellar defense looking to shut down opponents. So we should see goals in this game. I like the over 2.5 here. Sergio, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the over 2.5, or maybe an Atalanta win. I think I would go for a Atalanta win. Lazio's playing at home, but I think Atalanta the game that they lost against Real was actually the only one in what, the last 6 or 7 even.
Last 3 months, man.
Yeah, look, so that's why I would just I would rather go for Atalanta, but the over 2.5 is a pretty good odd also.
Yeah, and even against Real, they actually had a good chance to maybe even at least get a draw. So Atalanta pretty much in form. Like I said, both of these teams can score. Atalanta scores very high at a very high clip. So over 2.5, my favorite over 2.5 for the weekend. All right, next up, Sunday slate. Udinese hosting to Torino. Udinese wins set at 2.23. Torino wins set at 3.7. Line for total goal set at 2.5. Now, this is a game I'm not trying to touch. I don't like either of these teams. Teams very close to each other, even in terms of goal difference. So I'm not really looking to make a play here. Are you doing something?
Udinese, their surprising win against Fiorentina. Yeah, at least for me, I didn't expect them to win that game. Uh, I think they surprised everyone. Um, and of course, Torino. Yeah, I can we say one of the worst teams in the Serie A? Yeah, almost. But yeah, I still think Udinese, yeah, a lean towards them is maybe the best option. But yeah, like you said, I think I'm gonna skip this one also. Over 2.5. Don't even look at that because these two teams they don't score a lot.
No, and listen, man, Udinese they won two out of the last 9 games. Torino won one out of the last 9 games. So how Udinese is in the top 10 and Torino just outside the top 10? I don't understand it. Um, I'm not picking a winner here, and neither, like you said, also not looking at the over 2.5. Just I'm not trusting these teams to score. All right, next up, Napoli hosting Venezia. Napoli wins set at 1.26. Venezia wins set at 12. Line for total goal set at 2.5. Now, low value here backing Napoli. Napoli is just a team, if you've watched them this season, you know they're just gonna score, try to limit their opponents from scoring goals, maybe sneak out a 1-0, 2-0. Sometimes a 2-1 win, but man, not too much value in making that play. So I'm skipping this game. Also, are you doing something?
So maybe the under 2.5 then is is possible. Yeah, but I don't know against Venezia, I think they can at least score 3 goals.
Yeah, that's why I'm not looking at it because Venezia they've allowed 30 goals already. So Napoli they could score 3 goals here. I'm not sure they want to score 3 goals, but they could even if they don't try. So I'm staying away from that.
I think it was Juventus that had a bad luck against Venezia. Ah, yes,
Yeah, the
that's right.
2-2 draw.
Two
Yeah,
two draw. Yeah, yeah. Venezia scored 2 times against Juventus, so it is possible for them to score at least.
yeah, and yeah. That's true. All right, but no, lightning doesn't strike twice. All right, next up, Juventus hosting Fiorentina. Juventus wins set at 1.96. Fiorentina wins set at 4.4. Line for total goal set at 2.5. Now, last week I backed Juventus for what would have been the last time had they lost against Monza. They didn't. Was like kind of my heaviest play of the weekend. Real Madrid and Juventus
Yeah,
taking them in a two-team parlay. Glad that one cashed. So I'm going back to Juventus at home. Listen, man, Juventus is still undefeated. Like they haven't. You've seen some games where they haven't really played well, but they're still undefeated in the Serie A. I don't think Fiorentina goes on the road and wins this game. Maybe a draw. So you can look at double chance Juventus and try over 1.5 goals for the total game. Either that or just a straight up Juventus win. That's it for me. What are you doing?
it's already a draw on points. You know, they have the same amount of points. But I think Juventus, got I would say lucky last weekend because it almost ended in a draw. Yeah, but still, uh, I wouldn't think that they would draw against Fiorentina. Again, Fiorentina, the game against Udinese, I think it was a terrible hit for them. So I would just think that Juventus is going to win this game, and at 1.96, I think it's a good option.
Yeah, and if you look at the head-to-head matchup, there's almost always a winner. If you go back to the last 10 years, there's always a winner, and Fiorentina won once at Juventus in the last 10 years. So that also says something. All right, next up, AC Milan hosting Roma. AC Milan wins set at 2.25. Roma wins set at 3.4. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Now, I also like the over 2.5 in this game, but I'm just gonna go for the AC Milan win here. I'm not sure Roma they really turned the corner. Two straight home wins where they scored 9 goals, but when they go on the road, different story. So I can see them scoring goals here, but not confident they will win. So my lean is towards AC Milan, but also like the over 2.5 goals here. What are you doing?
Yeah, I agree. I would go for the over 2.5. AC Milan win. Yes, of course, at 2.25, yes, is really tempting, but um, something tells me that this game will maybe draw, maybe a 2-2. So I would uh, I would only go for the over 2.5.
Yeah, and what I like from the last game, Roma against Parma, obviously I know it was Parma, so AC Milan, different story, but expected goals over 5. So that just tells me they created a lot of chances. Obviously, they scored 5 goals. Now, the road game before that, not that impressive when they went up against Como because expected goals was under 1. But I do expect them to score here, continue their momentum. 9 goals scored in the last 2 games, so they should get a goal here and we should see the over 2.5 goals. All right. Next up, Como hosting Lecce. Como wins set at 1.74. Lecce wins set at 5.2. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Now, Monday games, kind of our favorite day of the week. And it's one day before, actually 2 days before New Year. So, will these players really be motivated to play?
No, not the players from Como and Lecce. I don't think they have much to play for. So I think, yeah, Como, no, they almost level on points. These two teams, no, I don't think they are really gonna be motivated to, maybe a draw. I think the draw is the most likely.
Yeah, I also think that like if I really had to pick a winner, I'd probably take Como. Like you said, almost leveled on points. They've allowed 30 and 29 goals. Como 30, Lecce 29, but at least Como scores more than Lecce, 18 goals, while Lecce has scored 11. So if I have to pick one, I'm going for the team that at least can score goals. But listen, man, not a not a game I'm looking to put my money on. All right, next up, Bologna hosting Verona. Bologna wins set at 1.52. Verona wins set at 7. Line for total goal set at 2.5. Now, Bologna in somewhat good form. They haven't lost in the last six, two draws, and they've kept a lot of clean sheets. So, a team like Verona going on the road here, not sure Verona will score in this game. Give me Bologna at home, obviously the better team. What are you doing?
Yeah, I agree. Just go for Bologna. Over 2.5 should be, yeah, you can only count on Bologna for that and scoring 3 goals. Yeah, no, I don't, uh, I don't think so. So, yeah, I would also just go for the Bologna win.
Yeah. We agree there. All right, now that wraps up Serie A. Let's get to the Premier League. First game, Leicester City hosting Manchester City. Leicester City wins set at 9. Manchester City wins set at 1.36. Line for Zorgo set at 3.5. Now, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I asked you like when does Guardiola's seat get hot? Said like, all right, he's still one of the best coaches, and I agree. But listen, man, even good coaches get fired, right? Sometimes you just need a new voice, and the draw against Everton was just so bad at home. So I'm not sure what's going on with City, but if you were to lose this game against Leicester City, I believe he should be fired. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, with City, you really can, 3 games ago, I thought, oh no, they won't lose against Manchester United. That would be rock bottom. But now they draw against Everton at home. Then when is it rock bottom or is it below rock bottom? I don't know. So against Leicester City, I'm not even gonna be surprised if they lose or draw. But the feeling that I have now, the way City plays, I watched the last 2 games. I mean the games against United and against Everton, and I think if they play against a motivated Leicester City, they will gonna draw again, or even worse. So I would maybe just look at yeah, I don't know, the over 2.5 or the double chance City, Leicester City. Then I mean, so I would go for a double chance Leicester City. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, listen, man. I'm still salty because I picked them 2 weeks ago when they went to Villa Park, one of the toughest places to play. And after the game, I was like, what was I thinking? They can't even win at home, so why am I picking them in a road game? So for me, they're on the bench, not betting City until I really see they have turned things around. So, like I said, they're on the bench. Next up, Everton hosting Nottingham Forest. Everton wins set at 2.7. Forest wins set at 2.95. Line for the goals, total goals set at 2.5 now. This is my favorite under 2.5 goals of the weekend. These teams they have a very defensive approach. So I'm not sure which team will want to attack in this game. We shouldn't see a lot of goals here. Like I said, and they also don't allow too many goals. Surprisingly, two of the better defenses in the Premier League. So they don't want to attack. They can defend. So under 2.5, easy play here. What are you doing?
I don't know. I would go for Nottingham. Only because Everton, a draw against City was, very high achievement for them. I think it was, best results of the season for them, maybe. So, um, I think I would just go for the Nottingham Forest win. You know, coming from a high, I think Everton. I think they achieved their goal this season. So I would just go for a Nottingham Forest win.
I don't dislike that play, but I'd probably play it safe and take a double chance for Nottingham Forest. Still a road game. Like I said, still expect a low scoring game, so double chance. That's a safer play. But obviously, if you have to pick a winner, you'd go for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, yeah, because
They've been a far better team this season. Yeah.
yeah, I know, and I really thought that Nottingham, that they would lose against Tottenham, but yeah, they didn't. Lose against Villa, yeah, they also didn't. So I
Yeah,
think
but against
it would be.
Tottenham, like, okay, 29% ball possession. So, like I said, very defensive approach. They scored early in the first half, and not that early in the first half, but early in the game they scored and kind of locked things up at the back. So, um, not sure they deserve to win that game. But this man, 29% ball possession. That's that's not something to write home about.
No, no.
All right, next up, Tottenham hosting Wolves. Tottenham win set at 1.67. Wolves win set at 4.6. Line for Sorgo set at 3.5. Now, Tottenham obviously on a bad streak, two straight losses. They've allowed 6 goals against Liverpool. But this is a good bounce back spot for them. I know Wolves, they switch coaches, won back-to-back games, but they really haven't played anybody. And yes, they won against Manchester United. They haven't played anybody. And even the game they won against Leicester City, I know they scored 3 times, but expected goals still 1. And also against United, expected goals below 1. So I'm not sure they're going on the road here and beating Tottenham. So I'm just taking Tottenham for a win. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, not nothing much to add. I also think this should be a win for Tottenham. Yeah. If they don't want to, get too far behind the top 10, I think yeah, they should win this one. And Wolverhampton at home, I think, is a good place to start.
All right, next up, Fulham hosting Bournemouth. Fulham wins 2.45. Bournemouth wins set at 2.95. Line for Turbo set at 2.5. Now, the odds for a win for either team very tempting, but there's a reason it's this close to each other. I'm going for the over 2.5 goals here. Fulham 26 goals scored, but 23 allowed. Bournemouth 27 goals scored. Now, Fulham also coming off a high, beating Chelsea, so not backing them in this spot. I'm going for the over 2.5. I know Bournemouth got shut down against Crystal Palace in midweek, but Crystal Palace, another team that has a very defensive approach. Fulham does not, so we should see goals in this game. Over 2.5 goals. That's my play here. What are you doing?
Yeah, over 2.5. I don't think we're going to see a winner here. Fulham, surprising win, of course, against Chelsea last time out. So yeah, over 2.5. I agree.
All right. Next up, Crystal Palace hosting Southampton. Crystal Palace wins set at 1.63. Southampton wins set at 6.1. Line for zero goal set at 2.5. Now, Southampton only 1 goal scored in the last 5 games. Man, they're just awful. You can only look at Crystal Palace in this spot. Crystal Palace, obviously not a great team, but only lost 2 out of the last, was it 6, 7 games, and both were against Arsenal. So Crystal Palace at home, only thing you can look at here. Southampton is just terrible. No way you can back them or put your money on them. So what are you doing here?
Yeah, I would even look at the over 2.5. But yes, of course, Crystal Palace win. But the over 2.5 at 1.74. I think that's
Yeah, there's also value
really
there.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
agree.
Crystal
There's also
Palace,
value
yeah,
there.
they score a lot, in the last games, of course, like that. So yeah,
Yeah, and both teams, like I said, Crystal Palace, kind of a defensive approach, but still they've allowed 26 goals. So and Southampton, of course, 37 goals allowed, one of the worst defenses. So we should see goals here. And I don't disagree with the over 2.5. Right, next up, West Ham hosting Liverpool. West Ham wins set at 7.5. Liverpool wins set at 1.41. Line for total goals set at 3.5. Now, listen, man, you can't go against Liverpool, right? There's not a lot, there's not much to say in this game. The over 3.5, it's kind of too rich for my blood. But there's no way you could go against Liverpool, even though they're on the road, right?
no, no, of course not. Um, the over 3.5 would be a little bit too much, I think, against West Ham, because West Ham is that's a team that defends well. But if you look at the last, I think, 5 games they played against each other, it was almost, yeah, all the games, a lot of goals scored. So 5-1, 2 times 5-1, 2-2, 3-1. So the over 3.5 is tempting, but yeah.
Yeah, but that was a different Liverpool, man. That Liverpool just had a different approach towards games. Um, Under Arne Slot, they've kind of, don't want to say they have a defensive approach, but um, a lot more ball control. A lot more. You know, we don't take too many risks. Of course they have some games where they could just light up the scoreboard like they did against Tottenham, but they don't have too many games of that this season. So kind of a different Liverpool we're seeing this season, and it kind of pays off. They're number one in the league. So I'm not touching the over 3.5. Kind of agree with what you said before. All right. Next up, Aston Villa hosting Brighton. Villa wins set at 2. Brighton wins set at 3.8. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Now, like I said earlier, Villa one of the toughest places to play. I know they lost 3-0 against Newcastle United, but that was a road game. Coming home, only one loss on the season. That was against Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup, where they did not field their best 11. So I'm not sure you can go against Villa in a home game. There was a reason they had the longest winning streak at home. So 2 weeks ago, what was I thinking? Fading them against Manchester City. I'm not doing that again. I'm taking Villa here. What are you doing?
Yeah, but still, if you look at Brighton, they haven't won a game in six or maybe even seven. So I would, hmm, I would, I wouldn't go too much against Brighton here. You know, Villa, not losing at home. Every time, yeah, you play at home, it comes closer. So I agree. Maybe Aston Villa win, but I would just go play it safe and go for the over 2.5.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the over 2.5. Although the value is a little bit lower, 1.6. Um, I agree with you, especially Brighton being shut out last game against Brentford. They're looking for a win because they actually created a lot of chances in that game. So Villa is not a team that I think can shut out Brighton. So if Villa were to win, Brighton scores a goal, we should see the over 2.5. But I still like Villa for a win. Great value there at 2-1. Next up, Ipswich hosting Chelsea. Ipswich wins set at 7. Chelsea wins set at 1.42. Line for total goal set at 3.5. Now, last two games, I think we were both on Chelsea winning those games, right?
Yeah.
The draw against Everton was actually kind of bad. A bad result, not that bad of a performance, but because they had a lot of ball possession, created a lot of chances, but Everton just defended very well. And against Fulham, that was kind of a surprising result. But still, even though winless in the last two, they should bounce back against Ipswich here. No way, Ipswich. This would be maybe the most shocking result if Ipswich were to beat Chelsea, right?
Yes, or maybe even a draw would be really surprising. So no, of course Chelsea win. I think I'll just go for a Chelsea win. Over 3.5. No, I think that's a little bit too much. So I would just go for a Chelsea win.
All right. Next up, Manchester United hosting Newcastle United. Manchester wins set at 2.85. Newcastle wins set at 2.5. Line for total goal set at 2.5. Now, I don't know what's going on with Manchester United. Just absolutely bad. But I kind of already touched on this when they switched coaches. Like I said, Amorim may be a better coach than Ten Hag, but they need new players, man. They need better players. I know they're playing at home right now, so um, kind of a good spot for them coming back home after losing on the road against Wolves. But even at home, they haven't been impressive. They allow a lot of goals. If you look at the last seven games, in 5 games, they've allowed at least 2 goals, and we all know Newcastle is a team that can score. So my play here is Newcastle over 1.5 goals. What are you doing?
Yeah, I would maybe just try the Newcastle win. Manchester United, I think the confidence is, it's not there. It's the same with City, with Manchester City at the moment. I think that's the biggest problem. I think before they start the game, the players are maybe already so nervous, that oh no, we can concede a goal first, something like that. So, and the moment that happens, I think they just lose it. So, I don't know. I would just go for a double chance Newcastle, maybe.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like I said, I expect Newcastle to score goals, and I'm not sure United is getting shut out three straight games. So if Newcastle were to win, they should score twice. I believe so. Newcastle over 1.5, and for some reason, if for some reason Manchester were to pull out a rabbit out of their head, pull out a two to draw, well then you still cash. But um, I don't disagree with anything you said. Newcastle, it's a good bet here, backing Newcastle. All right, next up. Brentford hosting Arsenal. Brentford wins set at 6.75. Arsenal wins set at 1.48. Line for total goals set at 2.5. Now, Arsenal seems like they've kind of picked up things again, I would say. Um, Now, three straight wins, four wins in the last five. So, against a team like Brentford, they should keep rolling here, right?
Yes, yes, I agree. But an away game and Arsenal is, I don't know, yeah, Brentford is a difficult team at home, so um, it will be a difficult one. I would say Brentford scores, so maybe the over 2.5 would is I think that would be the way to go.
And you can look at both teams to score because there's more value there. 1.65 over 2.5 set at 1.5. So I would rather play both teams to score at 1.65. But like I agree with you, Brentford, they've been a tough out. So being at home, they can give Arsenal some trouble here. So both teams to score, kind of a good play and even more value than just the Arsenal win. All right, now that wraps up the Premier League, and like I said, only two competitions. So that wraps up this week's leans and picks. Quick recap: not a lot of games, so kind of tough to pick games you really like. But listen, man, I like Lazio Atalanta over 2.5. I like Juventus for the win, AC Milan Roma over 2.5, Tottenham for the win, Chelsea for the win, Newcastle United over 1.5 goals. What do you like?
Yeah, of course, the Lazio Atalanta over 2.5. Juventus win. AC Milan Roma over 2.5. And they have a Tottenham win. And Everton Nottingham Forest over 2.5.
All right. Now, guys, that wraps it up for this week. And like we always say, bet smart, bet with your head, set your limits, and stay within your means. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, good weekend, everybody.